I intend to embarrass this government entity to the very core.
Something needs to be done because it's not right that they can just go ahead and remove your kid. And I mean, our daughter hasn't even been away from us for more than a day or two, or an hour or two, let alone 2 weeks now. And this just isn't right. And the facts prove it.
I will make sure that my daughter has nothing but the best for the remainder of her life. This kid had the world by every aspect that you possibly could. She was given every chance to become whatever she wanted. We talked daily about her becoming an astronaut or a pilot or, something that was just an amazing feat for her. And she knew the sky wasn't just her limit, man, space was. And my word is, the only thing she needs to be the best for the rest of her life is her mother and I. So let's do the right thing.
It gives them the right, some guardian ad litem that she's spoken with her maybe once, twice, 3 times, that she's
a vendetta, an homage, I don't know what you want to call it, but she's got something under her that's driving her to remove this kid from our lives. Oh, she's inexperienced. Inexperienced is what you're going to toss this to? You're going to give an inexperienced person the keys to my world, my heart, our everything? Inexperienced is people that burn a pizza. Inexperienced is bumping your car into something else, because you're an inexperienced driver. Introduced as a third wheel into a kinship family, which I'm thankful for, but that's not her own. She's not with her own mom and dad. She's not even allowed to have her own things. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to have gifts from us. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to even take home simple food things from us when she visits us. It is brutal, absolutely brutal, not having Nina here in my life right now. I would rather sit behind a jail cell door and wait until that moment that I can be with my family again, and that would at least be something. But to sit here and know that she's the one that's suffering, this punishment isn't in my behalf, this is on hers. Now, I made a mistake. What CPS has done and are doing to our family is tearing us apart. In the framework of the investigation, it states clearly, do not recommend further investigation of this family. So why was it taken to that level? And why was it that my daughter was in such imminent danger that it took 8 days for the department to come and pick up my child after being ruled imminent danger? Tell me this. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, I don't want you in my life. DHS is full of that. I don't want them in my life. Help me get them out of my life. Because these people are people that I don't want to be around. I don't want them to have my daughter, Nina, out of our home and put her in a place that they screened. Do you know how long they screened? They screened her. They screened the family for no more than 2 hours prior. It took me 32 minutes to pull up the history of this family and find out that they operated under voyeur cameras, had porn websites, had all kinds of things going on there, that their kids that they had living there had witnessed their father get murdered by their mother, their faces stabbed off, they burnt their house down that they were living in, and this is where they put my 3-year-old daughter that was in imminent danger. Think about the things that Nina has seen now that we shadowed her from and sheltered her so that she never had to go through these things. Tell me now who needs to get the sustantion. Tell me now who's committing the acts of neglect and abuse. Tell me now who's going to look at Nina in the face. Tell her that she can trust her dad and her mom, and it was their mistake. I can only count to four. I can only count to four. Nina. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nina fell on the floor. Where you fall? Pick. Just don't be alone. What do we got to do to that, buddy? Huh? Beaners. Beaners. Hey, Nina. Hey, look it. What we got to do? What we got to do to your boo-boo? How are we going to fix it? You going to put the Band-Aid on? Okay. What else do we need to have? Some chocolate? Mommy get slushy? You don't think that will help? Want me to call Mama get slushy? What color?
Good evening, my family out there. I hope these messages find you well. For I come with you for the first transmission of hope. We are the united coalition of family fighters. For the last time, CPS has taken our children for profit and destroyed our family heritage and our hearts. Let this be known from this point forward. CPS, you have a battle on your hands that you've never seen before. We are going to attack you from the courtroom, from the computer desk, to the streets where you come and take our children from. Everywhere you turn, from this point forward, you will see one of us. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For those of you who've lost your kids, we are coming. Be hopeful. Be kind to one another. Stand as a legion. We will need you, for this fight will not be easy. And we can all not win it alone. We need to unite, strong, solid, for all to be a part. And when we do so, the destruction of Child Protective Services will finally be achieved. Stay tuned for your next transmission.
Good evening, everybody. This is Big D. We're coming to you live tonight from a safe location, safe and sound, away from the arms of CPS and anybody trying to harm us, so that we can get this news out to you. We got some breaking things tonight that we're going to talk about. This is our second broadcast only here, so if it's a little bit rough, bear with us here. But my guest tonight, as always, is my man with the Civil Rights Lowers, Mr. Laird.
Mr. Laird. You drop him in here.
Good evening. Thank you.
Now, this guy here, he knows what he's talking about. He's got access to things and stuff that none of us have any privy to. Why don't you go ahead, Mr. Laird, and tell us about yourself.
Me? I'm pretty simple. 2002, Drug Task Force by its agents tried to set me up. Got pissed off. Tried to split my family. It didn't happen because I grabbed my family and I ran. So at the same time, what occurred was me and a cop got into a physical altercation because I was being pulled over 9 times in a day and a half. I found my wife arrested with her handcuffed, my hands behind her back, handcuffed, bent over the sports car directly on the hood, 9 months pregnant. Luckily, my stepdad backed me up for that, and he came with a loaded firearm. Like we told the officers, the car does not belong to her, it belongs to me, and you don't have permission. Get the fuck out of it. They scattered like rats real fast. Later, I even told the chief of police here in Centralia, Missouri, if you don't get a handle on your officers, problems are going to happen. And I don't want to hear the blame when it does. Turned out I ended up having a cop approach me in a convenience store over here. He was questioning an informant due to a fight that occurred. Well, because I went into the store, came out, officer apparently thought Barney Badass thought he was going to come over and punch me in my jaw while taking me up by the front of my shirt. Unlike most cats, I will defend myself. You hit me, I'm hitting you. It ain't a question. It's a matter of duty. Don't make a shit to me on either end. Like my attorney said, get that.
That's what these bastards think. They think you can just fuck with our families, and that's the wrong answer, man. It doesn't matter if you're police, the governor, the president, any of that shit, man. There's no reason for this and what they're doing.
Well, it got worse than that because after me and the cop got his ass whooped, I had cops flying all the way from over an hour away, flying here because they heard I was in the fight with a cop here. And I had other members they flew in here like a fucking fire just happened. Well, they come to find out later I got a video. I took it over to Channel 8 and Channel 13 because your media reporter is supposed to be your incorporated entity investigation into the government, not investigating people. They're supposed to be a consumer protection action for you people. Same thing as your attorney generals who's failing in their duties and their jobs officially and personally. And that's kind of a really big issue actually right now with the federal.
Yeah, why don't we break this down for these people that don't quite understand this? Let's give them a quick 2-minute, 3-year-old version of what you're speaking of there, because to some people, man, it's kind of over the edge and it's a lot to consume because there's the tinfoil hat wearers and all these things that they'll call us. But in reality, this is what's really going on here, So break it to these people in smaller people's terms about what you're talking about there.
Well, help me out. Give me some questions. I'm dealing with everything that's been occurring since 1993. I'm going to need you to kind of break it down. I'm giving a gist of how many years?
Right. So as far as this, let's start at where the law is and where it's not. A lot of people have this question. Maybe you could explain just to start with how jurisdiction works.
Jurisdiction. Well, definition would become diction, and juris would be the people. That would mean the jurisdiction is of the people and we the people. The juris means people. That's your biggest person, everything in this situation. Your taxpayer is we the people because they're the only ones paying taxes to the treasury. And then all these businesses and all the rest of them are stealing your money by claim of services. When you file a complaint to child services or any other businesses, they're going to take that complaint, they're going to turn it into $1 by a claim for treasury funds for their business. Every complaint, their idea is to generate complaints to get more money. That's why they're not getting justice here.
So every one of these kids that they get, as soon as there's a courtroom, I believe that the way it works is this: for the Title 40 funding to work and go through, is the courts have to be activate some sort of. The courts have to become actively involved, and you have to have some sort of an appearance in the court. Once you get into that court, which usually these people use that the 72-hour hearing after your kid's been taken or whatever. At that point, that time begins, the clock starts ticking, the 4E funding starts coming in. That 4E funding is where all of these things, this dirtiness starts to play. Am I correct about that in saying that? I mean, what do you got to talk about?
Well, technically, let me break it down this way for you, okay? I'm going to highlight and make it significant of what the real problem is. Social services gets a call about a child in need, right? Now, one of the guaranteed qualities in the United States by its Constitution, you have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to cross examine any witness or claimant. Now, social services, let's just be real about this, has no signed order for complaint by nobody.
Right. So
Here's
you
the
get a
So you
preliminary
get a
protection
preliminary
order, right?
protection order, right?
That's normally
well,
what they
That's
give you
normally
when they
what they
come
here's
to your
what
give you
we're
when
door
they
and
come
getting
take
to
your
your
at.
kid.
door and take your kid.
Well, technically,
That's
the
not a warrant,
48,
That's
right?
not a warrant, right?
no, the 4872-hour rule is for an individual who's been placed in incarceration to be brought before a magistrate of the court. That does not mean a judge. That means a jury of his peers, which is a grand jury. Well, that's
Which none of us
significant
are
because
Which none
allotted
of us are
in
allotted
this
in
process.
this
No one
process.
is
No
bad
one
enough
is
that's
bad
behind
enough
closed
that's behind
doors,
closed doors,
but it's
but
also
it's also
by one
by
judge.
one
By
judge.
one
By
judges,
one judges,
most of the
most of
times
the times
have
have
seen
seen
everything that's
everything
gone.
that's gone on
You
through
know,
these
they've sat
cases.
there,
well,
they've
here's
said
the
to the
They've
problem.
state
sat
that you
there,
can
they've
have
said to
this
the
kid.
state
These
that you
people
can
are
have this
terrible.
kid. These people are terrible.
No, no, no,
No,
no,
no, no,
and
no, no,
TPR.
and TPR.
You know, it's all one
You know,
Well,
it's
judge.
all
That's
one
not
judge.
fair. That's
That's
not
not
fair
fair. That's not
whatsoever.
fair
okay,
And how
whatsoever.
is that not
And how
even
is that not
reaching
even
bias?
reaching bias?
I'm confused. You just keep saying judge. There's no judge there, sir.
Right.
What I've been
Right.
what I'm
Well, because
Well,
saying,
it's
because
the
it's the
judge's.
judge's what?
that's not a judge, it's a commissioner.
Right. So this is where I'm getting at.
So
So break this down for the people.
It's down for the
Who is
people.
that person
Who
that's
is that
sitting there
person
with a
that's
robe
sitting
on,
there with a robe
imitating what
on,
should be a
imitating
judge?
what should be a judge?
And then all this
And then
madness of
all
the
this
law. Well,
madness
how
of the
does that
law.
break
Well, how
down?
does
Who
that
is
break
that
down?
person?
Who is that person?
And who are
well,
they
Who are
to
they to
anybody?
anybody?
They're
They're
nobody.
nobody
They're
there
who
who
are.
are.
yes, they are somebody. They are when a judge goes for his position as a judge. Okay, one, he was a prior attorney or a lawyer. Now those are both significant, but they have to be released from the bar association to be a judge. Now that's significant because you also elect your judge. He is on the ballot of election. Now that brings me into your straw man concepts, okay? Now, straw man is based upon the voter situation. Every straw is your vote. So technically, your straw man is your government. It's not your person, it's your government. And that would mean it's a scarecrow. All them straws are what constitutes the body of the scarecrow.
All right. And what
Those
is
And
straws,
what is
so?
so
So for
so
everybody,
for
I guess
everybody?
this
I guess
again.
this
This is
again.
where we'll
This
go
is where
back
we'll go
to
back
to start
to
like the
start like the
3-year-old. The
3-year-old.
straw man
The
is what?
straw
The
man
straw
is what? The
man
straw
is a
man is a
fictitious or
fictitious or
a
a
fictitious person
fictitious
that's
person
created
that's
by the
created
birth
by the birth
certificate,
certificate
stating that
stating that
you are a
you
part of this
are a
government
part of this
corporation
government
that
corporation
exists.
that exists.
And then there's the
And
live
then
view,
there's the
right? Is
live
that
view, right?
somewhat
Is
in
that
there how
somewhat in
this
there how
is to be
this is
viewed?
to be viewed?
okay, let me explain it to you like constitutionally so you get it. Okay, every country has a constitution, okay? Every landmass has a constitution. That's what unites these people under one idea. That idea being equal opportunity for employment, equal opportunity for a chance to make it in this world. That's the mission and the business quality clause of the United States of America for in all immigrations around the world. That's why the people come here to get away from all this crap, to get away from violations of your freedom of speech, violations of your children being raped, violations of the judges doing whatever the hell they want. They they left their countries to come here for a chance to equally make it and be protected.
So
And
can we
So can we
also,
also,
since we're here
since
with
we're here
this,
with
let's,
this,
let's I know we
I
talked
know
about
we
this
talked
before
about
the
this
show, but
before the
we're
show,
here. We
but we're
might as well
here. We
do it
might
now.
as well do it now.
What's the difference
What's the
between the
difference
United
between the
States of
United States
America
of America
or
or
the United
the
States of
United States
America?
of
How does
America?
this
How does
work? The
this
real
work? The
United
real
States that
United
we
States that we
supposedly live in,
supposedly
that the
live in,
Bill of
that the
Rights
Bill of
is
Rights is
actual and real
actual and
to,
real to,
opposed to the
opposed to the
corporation itself
corporation
that
itself
is
that
the
is
United
the
States of
United States of
America, right?
America, right?
Is that
Is that
well, that's going to get fun, actually. All right. Are you ready? You, the
I'm
person,
ready.
I'm ready.
under the identity of the IRS, are known as the natural person. That is your tax status class. Now, they don't advertise that to you, but here's the biggest thing the next step in business is your first business must contain your name and the occupation of that business. Say, Chester Brawl's Trucking Company. That would be his name, or Brawl's Trucking even, and his job would be trucking as an occupation. Industrial relations section. That's the occupation, or social worker. Parsons Family Services Corporation in New York City, where all these missing kids are going. 2,000 missing kids from Missouri. Nobody lifted a finger or an investigation into where they went, which is obvious because we're being denied what do you call it, Amber Alerts, notifications
Mm-hmm.
by officers to issue out emergency orders to the Amber Alert of the Federal Communications broadcast towers of the broadcast associations. Under national emergency like weather, kidnapping, domestic terrorism, these are required to be the access point to the people, not to the cops, but to the damn people. Because the governor is so involved in political abuse and self enrichment. Like I said, New York City, Parsons Family Services. Well, he's married to a retired banker and social worker out of Mississippi, Miss Teresa Parson, who used to be Teresa Nelson, and before that, she was Cindy Niemeyer, St. Jude's physician and attorney doctors, which is huge in social services because apparently you're all up against attorneys and y'all didn't know it. So you attorneys out here kidnapping kids. Now these
Right, everybody
those
out here kidnapping kids. Everybody's got their hands in this cookie jar. There's no doubt about it.
you're right, but
So
they're using social
let's go
services as
to the
paralegals.
second that CPS gets involved in your day. I mean, we talked about this, and obviously this is a much bigger category. I mean, the subject matter as far as like what the straw man is in the United States and all of that. But let's go towards this. Let's say
Would you like the answer first?
yes, give it.
Okay. In the United States, there is the natural entity, which is the living family who's in the house on the same side as God's house, the big house. That's what God's house is called, the big house. And we live in a small house. We are God's people. We're not here to be judged by men or women, and that actually exceeds the jurisdiction of a judge. You may judge upon conflicts, property disputes, things like this, but you may not judge upon a man or woman, and you definitely may not judge upon a child ever. This is what they call exceeding the jurisdiction of a judge. Now, in every state and Supreme Courts, in every case in federal appeals, it's unanimously decided the judge does not have authority to terminate a parent or to take a child from a parent. That's exceeding a jurisdiction as well. But what they're doing is trying to force you to be your own attorney, have to represent yourself against qualified attorneys, to educate them attorneys, and using the officers as education as well. Now, the only way this occurs, to be honest with you see the governor at the state office. He's your elected individual, right? Well, if I told you he was a campaign failure, fraud and promises all day long, official capacity for arrest. In my case, my Missouri governor is involved 100% in child kidnapping. His wife is a social worker out of Mississippi and retired from the big bank. What kidnappers require? They require ransom effect, money, in exchange for the children. Now, we've met every quality here for a kidnapping. And if you go to Missouri RSMO statutes of the state, 468.040, print it out, take it to the FBI's office, and present to them the ransom for exchange and release of your child. Because in that states, one, an agreement to pay must occur in order for release from confinement. So technically, they kidnapped your kid by officers or social workers. That's an unprofessional relationship, as well as putting most fathers in prison and turned women into informants and killed them. Drug overdoses in cops' families' houses. Now, this isn't convenient, do you think? How many women died here?
Well, look, everybody thought it was a sham when Nancy Schaefer's husband killed her and then he killed himself. She started speaking out and she was giving out too much information that people didn't necessarily want anybody to know about. And look what they do. I mean, they're no joke. This is a powerful. The way I see it is this: it's the biggest, powerfulest. That's not powerfulest isn't a word. It is the most powerful government agency that there is. That money that comes through this system funds every state, funds every sort of budget. Look, what does the state do when they're shortfalling? Just go out and take a handful of kids, put them into an adoptive situation, and boom, they just covered up their deficit of $10 million. The governor looks like a hero because he's made the whole system work. Like this is ridiculous. Everybody here in the state of Maine, they did the same shit, same thing.
Well, it's the
There
same
was no
idea
more
that
jobs created. You look at the numbers for the past 10 years. There's no more jobs, new commerce, new business, new any of this stuff. But you know what there was? There wasn't more kids taken, but there sure was TPRs, and there was more kids adopted out. And then, of course, there's the increase in the amount of kids that between foster care and adoption have just vanished. That we don't know where those went. We don't have an answer.
The key is that they've never investigated. If it was their kid, I guarantee Amber Alerts would have been issued, investigations, somebody had been answering accountability.
Oh, yes. There would have been state police. There would have been all kinds of things involved. And this is how they prove. Look, I'm going to read this. Hold on, I want to grab this here because I want to read you something verbatim. Verbatim. Let me get this out of here for you. This is what they read in my finding. Okay? This is something. And if anybody can figure this out, because I'm going to tell you what the state, the York County, whatever the hell she calls herself, the boss here told me it means.
Just a heads up, my battery just drained all the way down real fast.
Oh, so they're watching us. Well, we're going to have to take a pause in, I guess.
No, you keep going ahead. If I have to, I got the other phone charging.
All right. Do the switch up. So this is here. This is the notice of substantiation or indication, right?
Well, here's my thing. In law, you got to prove intention.
Look, so first of all, I want everybody to see this part here. What he's talking about with the straw man thing is, look at here. I don't write my name like this. My name is not. I don't know if you can see this. No. Anyway, what it is it's written in all uppercase letters. What's that? That's an indicator, right? That's the straw man. That's not me. That's not Danny Boy in the flesh, right?
The straw man corporation.
Right, so that makes me the straw man. Right. So anyway, this is what they say. The Department of Health and Human Services has looked into reports that you have abused or neglected a child. This assessment has resulted in the decision that you did abuse or neglect a child. It may be difficult to see in writing very specific information about the facts that led to this decision. We recognize that families have important strengths and they can call upon to help create a safe home for their children. We have made the following decisions about those reports and are explaining how they were supported. What the fuck is that?
I didn't hear no explanation there at all.
It may be difficult to see in writing very specific information about the facts that...
Are you reading invisible writing? Because
yeah. So either I've done something so atrocious that there's not even words in the English language that they can describe with, or this says, hey, you know what? You didn't do anything, but if we give you time, we're going to find something on you, or we're going to make something up, or we're going to do, which is exactly what happened. It's all bullshit. The lady, I can't even remember what she is, but the lady that's in charge here, the director of York County or whatever, she told me that didn't mean what I thought it said. She said that means that my eyes were going to be swelling up because I'd be crying from reading the decision, and that's why I want to be able to read it.
Well, they're going to be crying when we do what we got to do to defend our children.
Yes, sir. I mean, this is the thing that these people are getting away with every day, day in and day out. They're doing it every minute of the day. Every minute of the day, there's a new child brought into child protective custody. So that in itself is just a disgusting rate of removal. You know, like it doesn't seem like we're trying to help children here. What we're doing is we're supplementing kidnapping. You know, who would have ever thought?
Can you give me that individual's name and county one more time?
Which one?
The one you was reading from, the district.
You want my name?
Not you. Who? The social worker, district manager, whatever.
Yeah, so this came from. Let me see here. Well, it just came from the substantiation report. The lady. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Here we go. Kristen taught Tabitha.
Which one?
It looks like. I'll be able to tell you here in a second. Kristen Todd was the caseworker that had done that for me. And then now here's the thing. So then I get handed the. I got this on the date of. Let's see here. This was given to me on December 8th. On December 2nd.
Arizona. You're not in Arizona.
Now, what's that?
Give me that other name real quick. Tabitha.
I can't really read the.
You're not.
Let me get it off of. I can get the real name. I can't really read her signature. It says Tabitha. Oh, wait.
Kristen
look it up.
Todd, social worker, Phoenix, Arizona. Currently practices in the main building at Sheriff Care.
So that lady is our new. She's the new director here.
That's weird.
Is she not? Oh, wait a minute. No. You're talking about Julie. That's the lady.
Sir, that's the lady.
Kristen Todd.
Social
okay,
worker.
but Julie.
Kristen Todd, social worker.
I'll tell you. Hold on. Sorry about this. I'm getting this a little.
No, you're good. I think what we got here is somebody committing fraud like hell.
So I'm gonna, because now that you're saying this, we can tie this in. I wish, everybody can, we have the live chat over here on the side. So if we have viewers, if anybody's listening, please feel free. I don't think we do at the moment, but hop right on here and make sure that you do. We're gonna try to. Mr. Laird and I are gonna try to make this more on a regular basis. We are kind of sporadic at this point, but like you said, we're getting this going, and we're gonna beat these son of a bitches.
No, we're not just gonna beat them. I've also got a Kristen Todd, President and CEO, Community Foundation of Northern Colorado. Demonstrated social.
Julie Hunter. Now I want you to look up this lady, Julie Hunter. This is gonna blow you away.
All right, give me one second. Julie Hunter. Now here's the thing. What I'm discovering is these people are changing the lettering of their name. Is she a social worker? What is she?
She is the director. What does she call herself? So she's the creme de la creme here in this area. That doesn't. She's the York County District, whatever, up the ladder. Oh, child. Well, that's the supervisor. Let me see. She must have signed one of these. Oh, program administrator, York County. Now, these all came from emails that I sent over and over to the director. Holy smokes. Brain, I'm just reading these letters here. Like, wow, wait a minute.
Whoa. You may want to get pen and paper for these.
What you got?
Where's Lafayette County of the Huskies? Do you know?
Hold on a second here. All right, say that again.
Lafayette County for the Huskers School. Higginsville, Missouri.
It's your neck of the woods, my friend.
Understand of the week. Now that's kind of significant. You know why? Because my 13th Judicial Circuit of the three different county courts
Hmm.
is owned by Mary Mueller of the business license of Court Services, who is an investment broker for Edwards Jones St. Louis Company, and her family is too. Now, court services
Whoa.
would imply that we're talking about the public defender's office, not the judges or
Right.
the PD's office. And then, because I'm finding this to be educations and the bonds from all the patients and birth records being sold by your hospitals into bond conversion, and then you got your school boards who are collecting bonds for an election to the school board over top of your schools, which means we're playing education. Education don't instill murder or kidnapping. So these are teachers, principals,
Okay.
professors.
I don't mean to.
Okay.
I don't mean to stop in this. I just get
I
so
don't mean to
overwhelmed
stop in this. I
with this
just get
shit.
so
Listen,
overwhelmed with this shit. Listen,
I
this
know.
is me writing to Julie
this is
Hunter.
me
All right.
writing to Julie
Actually,
Hunter, right?
this
Actually,
went to.
this went to
Yeah. No, this one went to
yeah. No,
herself.
this one went to herself.
I said.
I said,
Let's see.
let's see.
What state is MT?
That's Montana,
That's
right?
Montana, right?
Oh yeah, now I know what the connection is. I got a Julie Hunter Administration Division Executive Assistant for the Bozeman Company. City
Bozeman.
Attorney, Administration, Equity and Inclusion, Community Development, Finances, Fire, Human Services, Strategic Services. We're talking Office of Civil Affairs. That's not just weird. Social service and
So they're
civil
moving and
So they're
service.
shuffling
moving
these
and
people
shuffling these
around the
people around
country,
the country,
Uh-huh.
putting them in
Mhm.
putting
different
them in
spots,
different
which I'm going to
spots,
guess are
which
the
I'm going
hot
to guess are the
zones
hot zones that
It's
supposed to be
they're
working
supposed to
in.
be working in.
well, if it's like what I've got here, I've got a Joanne Nelson who ran for well, she's the director for the Columbia Community Services. Now, this is key point for pedophiles, and because she's the Nelson family and kin to the governor Teresa Parsons, their family. When it was Teresa Nelson, and before that was Cindy Niemeyer of St. Jude's Children's physician and attorneys. Which why it keeps coming back.
Doctors and
Doctors and
lawyers.
lawyers.
That's your professional field that's attacking you all. Conspired in the
Hmm.
action that I proved to the U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice. My family court violations, which after proving that, the man got quiet. He said you proved every count of the criminal charge in domestic terrorist action. Intentional murder started by a physical action of kidnapping upon the person and property to commit the action of kidnapping of the child. By social services, it resulted in what is this 2021 Vice President Harris, I think it's 21, issuing out presidential code commands of the executive administrative order of the president as the commander in chief of the U.S. military. Judicial treason to be in effect.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
This
an order for
and
the
explain
And
what that
explain what
is.
that is.
That is an order by the President of the United States as the military chief commander for the military action for arrest of your judicial system. Now, because I play this Department of Justice, because all this I had to go, they're using Department of Justice as a key piece to commit civil rights violations. So I threw a DOJ complaint, civil rights violations by its employees and contractors upon the citizens, which threw it into a tailspin. So it couldn't know what to do, but that also produces my IRS treasury tied to its EIN number and its performance security bonds of the Security Exchange Commission to stop all payment to the Department of Justice and defund it. It effectively destroy its EIN.
And let's tell
And
these
let's tell
people
these
what
people
happens
what happens
when we stop
when
the
we stop
funding.
the funding.
That if we just
If
take
we just take
50% of the
of the
children's money
children's
that are
money
bringing
that are
in this
bringing in
way,
this
we
way,
break
we
the
break the
children's money
children's
out and
money
we
out
break
and we
them.
break
That's
them.
how we
That's how
abolish
we
these sons of
abolish these
bitches.
sons of bitches.
You got it, but it's by your treasury action. But with Drug Task Force, every 4 years we have drug busts out the ass to prove that the president and the sheriff are doing their job, right?
Of course we
Of course
do.
they aren't. We both know this. Of course. That's job security and justification to keep hiring and paying these assholes to extort us.
Right. Let's get more and more cops out on the street because you know what? We're taking more and more kids from their parents. So we're going to create more and more drug addicts, which are going to be more and more criminals. You know, all these kids that are being raised in these foster families are most likely going to commit some sort of severe malicious act towards the foster family that raised them because there's so much angst and animosity about this and the way that they're doing this. They're going to be drug addicts. They're going to be thieves. They're going to, it's just, listen, I can speak firsthand for being a parent that has had their child removed. Now, luckily for me, I let this beat a drum for me to, you know, a warpath. I can see very easily how a person that is involved in this whole system is going to go ahead and it just pins them up and it puts them down. You know, like that's it. It just breaks their spirit. It breaks their soul. It breaks everything that they have in their life. They lose their jobs. They lose their homes. They lose their cars. Everything which were good and fine when all of this began. The child had a great home, a great life, a great everything. Then these parents turned to being drug addicts. They turned to being irresponsible, and they turned to all of these things because the one thing in their life that meant anything at all, 1, 2, 3, or 4, however many kids they had, their heart and soul, something that they made that they were guaranteed no one could touch because the God himself said the only one that from you is me, and the fucking government steps in and they think that they can play God, and that's not right, and they're destroying everybody. And not only are they just destroying this stuff, they're destroying your parents, mother, father, child's friends. As long as that name of your child reaches, it's fucking with all of those people involved too. And this is wrong. There's millions and millions and millions. I'll bet you it's less than 6 degrees of separation if you finding someone that has been reached by Child Protective Services and has been affected by it. This is disgusting, sickening, and it has to stop.
Well, let's just be real about this real quick, Darren. Most of them foster families and foster kids that I help find their families, we're talking NASA employees. That's who they were. They were the government action. Because though you serve this country, you lose your child. That gives me a whole lot of hope to save my country. No, let's just be real about this.
Right, that's my shirt. You've seen the apparel that I'm making. I'm making this. I have a Shopify store that I'm making all this apparel. That money that we raised from that store, we haven't figured out what we're going to do with it yet. It's going to either go to a family that we select, or a organization, or a group. But anyway, one of the shirts that I have says right on it. It says, "No U.S. soldier died for the right to kidnap our children." Or, you know, or something quite. I think that's exactly what it says. But it's got a picture of the American flag upside down. God strike me dead and anybody else. I mean, no disrespect to anybody that's in the service, anybody that's felt that pain. But the second that the state came and they stole my fucking kid from my house, I lost all of respect for this country and all of those that are taking this fucking action. And it's disgusting, it's sick, and it needs to be fixed by the people.
Well, technically, the only way to fix this action right now, when the government builds blockades and actions of war, which they have, because they're intercepting your communications and covering up real information and using bad information to disassociate, they have committed treason, sir. This is domestic terrorist at this time. By government, it's known as an act of tyranny per the Constitution and in the security performance bonds, which all government contractors are required to have before contracting with the U.S. government. This is known as malfeasance. The same thing is by a government contractor. That's why the security bonds are so important here with the Security Exchange Commission. With Drug Task Force member raped my kids, split my family, and claimed to be DEA. He still has my kids, raping my kids. My daughter gets pregnant. I'll rip this nigger's dick out here through his asshole. And he's going to enjoy it, I promise you.
And you know, here's the thing. Karma. You hear the dog reviews too. Dog's right here with it. Here's the thing, is that these people now say that just because we talk like this or react in this manner that we have anger issues.
You
that
have
were
anger
pissed
issues.
off, and
You
we,
got
listen,
justified
I have
reasons.
never screamed, said, talked like this or anything around my daughter or my wife ever. We have two daughters and my wife, and then a female daughter here, and then I have two mothers, so I know better than to wash my mouth when I'm around people. Until the CPS worker came, blatantly disrespects me in my own home, tells me that I'm a liar, takes my kid from me, makes a mockery of me, who I am, lies about who I am and what I've eaten, and does all of this, and then expects me to say, "Oh, welcome, please come along. Yes, please come take my kid." Fuck you. I'm lucky you didn't get knocked the fuck out. You're damn right I'm pissed. You stole my kid.
You
I did
committed
nothing
domestic
wrong.
terrorism.
Nothing. Zero. As a matter of fact, the charges that they based my case on were fucking dismissed.
Mhm.
The rest
Okay,
of it was because of my podcast, and I said, you know what, this shit's getting real. It's time for me to take the gloves off.
Yeah,
So that was a
you should take the
threatening. That
gloves
was a
off.
threat to the department. But I want to go back to this. This is exactly what I. This is what was said to Julie Hunter, the director of the administration, or whatever. I said, attach you will find the main policy for extension under special situations. I've been arguing this for the entire time that not a person would recall this is why substation is based on the police report of my allegations. So in the policy, it states that if you're in a court case already and the allegations or whatever are based on that court case, then they need to wait until the court case is completed, and then they can go out with their further investigation and all of that. So
Okay.
they balked on that rule. But then it says on my letter, it says all courts attention notice, which these are a couple of things that need to be noted. First is the opening, which states it will be hard to prove in writing. I mean, clearly the police report that the allegation from. Clearly, there is no evidence that any of this is based. The report says Nina was clothed, fed, etc. Not safely stored in the home. So clearly, this is was founded from the police report, which is a direct violation of Maine's own policy. In short, this should have never taken place until my trial had been finished. Also, I want to point out the fact that the original narration states there is to be no further investigation. This is a jump start, the tip of the iceberg for the wrongdoings. Please, there are things that can be done. I'm not lying, and Nina is suffering. Thank you for your time. Because I'm always polite with these sons of bitches.
No,
This is what she responds to me
do
from,
that.
okay? Wait
Do
till
me a
you hear
favor.
this is what her 80,000 a year salary says.
Darren,
This
one
is what we
second.
pay
Sit
for.
down. Sit
Yes.
down for a second, brother. I
Ah,
got something for you. Before you do it, sit down. You'll have to.
well, you know I have narcolepsy. I can't.
Hey, brother, what I'm about to tell you, you want to sit down for. Okay. Julie Hunter is a legal advisor for International Center for Not-for-Profit and Safeguarding Civic Space Public Participation across the region. She's as well NASW Pennsylvania Board of Directors. Her passion includes prevention education, research, other forms of macro social work. Lisa currently works for Turning Point of Lehigh Valley, Julie partner and commercial litigator solicitor, environmental agency, Thames Region versus John Bushnell, Ltd. Assessment of statutory. We have used the services of Julie Hunter, such as Directory of Services Regions Administrator. Ouch, Kentucky. This is a social experiment under university R&D, research and development funds, my friend, in social welfare. Animal testing was done, and it was shut down because the fostering of animals made non-repairable. They couldn't repair or replace or correct what they had done wrong, and it was deemed unethical action. Human rights.
Yeah, let's save the animals. But fuck our kids.
Our
Literally.
kids aren't animals; they're human beings, brother. You know this.
That's what I'm saying. But they would save the animals, not our kids.
Yeah, and now they claim to save animals, but here's the thing: if your child is not an animal and can't be locked up, but you're gonna lock ours up, hold up. Didn't I say it exceeds the jurisdiction of the court? You may not give judgment upon a man or a woman. And here's the situation with the whole God thing, okay? In your 10 Commandments comes one promise by God to the world. Honor thy mother, honor thy father, protect the covenant of that family and protection of the child. God's destroying the world, my friends, if y'all don't get it straight and get it right here and now. He gave me one promise. If you can turn these family children in protection of the children, in defense of these kids, whether they fight or whatever they've got to do or go to court, he said, I'll save the world. Otherwise, this motherfucker's going to burn. If destroying the covenant,
Well, I mean, come on, let's
Well,
face
I
it,
mean,
Laird.
the
come
mother,
on,
the
let's
Let's
face
father,
face
it,
it.
Laird. Let's face it.
We
this world's
need
not
we
dead
need
yet.
humans to
We need
live and
humans
exist,
to
right?
live and exist, right?
Well, we just need to be people. Quit
Right.
trying to
But
act
what
like
I'm
we're
saying is to
Right.
make
But what
this
I'm saying is to
civilization
make
move
this
forward
civilization
and
move
to keep
forward
going
and
through
to
time,
keep going through time.
reproduction is
Reproduction
what God
is
gave
what
us to
God
ensure that
gave
this
us to ensure
happens.
that this happens.
This proves that
actually,
these
This proves that
social
these
workers
social
and all of
workers
these people
and all
involved
of
are
these people
from
involved are
Satan. They're the
from
devil
Satan.
because
They're the
they don't
devil
want to
because
spend a
they don't want
thousand
to
years
spend
on
a
this earth
thousand
by
years on this earth
themselves.
by themselves.
So what are
yeah,
they
So
doing?
what are
They're
they doing?
killing it off
They're
early
killing it off
themselves.
early
They're the ones going,
themselves.
they're
They're the
taking
ones
our
going,
young,
they're
they're
taking
taking
our young, they're
everybody,
taking
and they're
everybody,
going to force us
and they're
back
going to
into
force us back into
incestual,
incestual,
relations and all of that stuff.
relations and all of that
This is
stuff.
just
that's what
disgusting what
This
they're
is
foster
just
doing.
families
disgusting what they're
promote.
doing.
That's what a foster family promotes because nobody's kin. They're all
Right,
screaming, even
right.
if they're
And now,
innocent a child.
Right, and
now they're
now
taking
they're
you
taking
away and
you
they're
away and they're
wiping away who
wiping
the
away your
fuck
life.
you are.
You don't know who the fuck you are.
That's not only that, but in the Bible, Jesus on the road to Bethlehem ran across a barren couple, okay? This was before he came across the man in the cemetery with legion and cast him into the sea. The barren couple, he placed his hands upon the woman's belly and healed her. And then he went into explaining why the children are so important. Or as he said in the scripture, God gave you the power of creation of life, so that God's people may go on and have their names multiplied in the future. Not the demons, God's people. That's how you're going to find that 1,000 years of peace. You've got to defend your children. They want to survive too, but here's the thing. Your, as it also said, those children you are proof that you are God's followers and you have followed the righteous path correctly, and you were blessed with the miracle of life of a child. I am God's child. I am his servant. But one thing I want you to know is this. When I stood before God in 95 in judgment of death, he asked me for my heart. As the Bible says, only God may judge the heart of a man. No judge has that power, I promise you, because you can't see another man's heart. And I asked to come back to this world for a reason. Yeah, I remember it. Other people want to know how. Ain't none of their business. But the angel Uriel still guards the garden's gate. I mean, he's still there. It's called the Valley of Death, where shadow children and mother's heart sits way below your feet. That's what God's talking about finishing. Like he said, since I was willing to come back here, point blank, and give up my eternal rest, he was willing to come save this world if I could turn the people towards their children, to protect them, to restore the covenant of God, which is the family. That is the protected house in the country. If they want to destroy this family, profit off this family. In the process, they're going to destroy the world if we don't get off our asses right now. Because I'm just going to be real with you. Mother's dying. You call her Earth. She's died 1% per year. Electromagnetic, like an EKG, for the past 10 years. Here pretty soon, she's about to start dropping even further, just like a patient in a hospital with an EKG who starts dropping. There's a point of no return, and it's coming. The thing is, he made me one promise: turn these people towards the children. He would save mother. Only God can do it. You want to ask about Antarctica? Let me just be real with you real fast, okay? Underneath Australia is a max level prison. Deep in the bedrock, you've got to modulate, you've got to shift your dimension to even get in it. It's fully automated. If they never want you to see the light of day, that's where you go. Point blank. Antarctica is Atlantis. in that ice is frozen nightmares, dimensional beasts, things that you can't even imagine.
Well,
That's why
scientists have even proven that there's
uh,
rivers and lakes and all of that shit underneath hundreds and hundreds of feet. I don't know if it's hundreds of feet, but a shit ton of ice.
well, there's actually 20 miles thick of ice. That's what God
20
put on top
miles?
of Antarctica. That's what God put on top of Antarctica. It was actually Atlantis, but an experiment got out.
So I don't know that story.
I
But
do.
let's hold on a minute. Hold on. Let's say we're at this 55-minute point. I'm gonna thinking that we should take a quick break here. I want to let me read this. Let me read this 3 paragraphs. We'll take we'll take a 7 minute. We'll watch that video. I'll put that video on again. We'll play it, and then we'll get back to that.
Well,
But just hold this. Hold this for
Atlantis opened the gateway to hell. It took God
right.
to shut it.
Let's hold on. Let's hold that one. Let's hold that to the next. Hear this. Good afternoon, Darren. The section in the findings letter that states it may be difficult to see this information in writing is meaning we understand that giving a notice of child abuse neglect findings as difficult emotionally to read. It does not mean that the facts are difficult to put in writing. I hope that clarifies your question on this.
Do you have time to explain how it works?
Yeah, let's take a break, Laird. We'll be right back, people.
If I can do it for you, I'm gonna break it down.
Do it quick. Do it quick, Laird.
Okay. Massachusetts, take for example, I've got a client there. To the U.S. Health and Human Services, your state medical boards are putting in a business plan that there's going to be an extra 1,500 next year of psychological patients requiring therapy by stolen kids. This is a business plan of action. This is how they're generating.
We've got numbers to keep.
They've got pocketbooks they want to fill. But they're using U.S. Health and Human Services as if the banking loaner for their business ideas.
Yeah.
But that's the expectation, another 1,500 next year, and that's a small state. So
That's just the beginning of the iceberg. Speaking of icebergs, let's take a 8-minute and we'll come back.
Sounds good, brother.
All right.
Thank you, my man.
Yes, sir. And we'll go to this. I intend to embarrass this government entity to the very core.
Something needs to be done because it's not right that they can just go ahead and remove your kid. And I mean, our daughter hasn't even been away from us for more than a day or two, or an hour or two, let alone 2 weeks now. And this just isn't right. And the facts prove it.
I will make sure that my daughter has nothing but the best for the remainder of her life. This kid had the world by every aspect that you possibly could. She was given every chance to become whatever she wanted. We talked daily about her becoming an astronaut or a pilot or, something that was just an amazing feat for her. And she knew the sky wasn't just her limit, man. Space was. And my word is, the only thing she needs to be the best for the rest of her life is her mother and I. So let's do the right thing.
It gives them the right, some guardian of island that she's spoken with her maybe once, twice, 3 times that she's
A vendetta, an homage, I don't know what you want to call it, but she's got something under her that's driving her to remove this kid from our lives. Oh, she's inexperienced. Inexperienced is what you're going to toss this to? You're going to give an inexperienced person the keys to my world, my heart, our everything? Inexperienced is people that burn a pizza. Inexperience is bumping your car into something else, because you're an inexperienced driver. just as a third wheel into a kinship family, which I'm thankful for. But that's not her own. She's not with her own mom and dad. She's not even allowed to have her own things. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to have gifts from us. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to even take home simple food things from us when she visits us. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal not having Nina here in my life right now. I would rather sit behind a jail cell door and wait until that moment that I can be with my family again, and that would at least be something. But to sit here and know that she's the one that's suffering, this punishment isn't in my behalf, this is on hers. Now, I made a mistake. What CPS has done and are doing to our family is tearing us apart. In the framework of the investigation, it states clearly, do not recommend further investigation of this family. So why was it taken to that level? And why was it that my daughter was in such imminent danger that it took 8 days for the department to come and pick up my child after being ruled imminent danger? Tell me this. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, I don't want you in my life. DHS is full of that. I don't want them in my life. Help me get them out of my life. Because these people are people that I don't want to be around. I don't want them to have my daughter, Nina, out of our home and put her in a place that they screened. Do you know how long they screened? They screened her. They screened the family for no more than 2 hours prior. It took me 32 minutes to pull up the history of this family and find out that they operated under voyeur cameras, had porn websites, had all kinds of things going on there, that their kids that they had living there had witnessed their father get murdered by their mother, their faces stabbed off, they burnt the house down that they were living in, and this is where they put my 3-year-old daughter that was in imminent danger. Think about the things that Nina has seen now that we shadowed her from and sheltered her so that she never had to go through these things. Tell me now who needs to get the stanchion. Tell me now who's committing the acts of neglect and abuse. Tell me now. Tell me now who's going to look at Nina in the face. Tell her that she can trust her dad and her mom, and it was their mistake. I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. Nina. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nina fell on the floor. Where you fall? You fall on the ground. What are you doing on the ground? Don't pick. Just don't be alone. What do we got to do to that, buddy? Huh? Neeners. Nina Beaners. Hey, Nina. Hey, look it. What we gotta do? What we gotta do to your boo-boo? How are we gonna fix it? You gonna put the Band-Aid on? Okay. What else do we need to have? Some chocolate? Should we call Mommy and get slushy? What color?
Good evening, my family out there. I hope these messages find you well. For I come with you for the first transmission of hope. We are the united coalition of family fighters. For the last time, CPS has taken our children for profit and destroyed our family heritage and our hearts. Let this be known from this point forward. CPS, you have a battle on your hands that you've never seen before. We are going to attack you from the courtroom, from the computer desk, to the streets where you come and take our children from. Everywhere you turn, from this point forward, you will see one of us. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For those of you who've lost your kids, we are coming. Be hopeful. Be kind to one another. Stand as a legion. We will need you, for this fight will not be easy. And we can all not win it alone. We need to unite, strong, solid, for all to be a part. And when we do so, the destruction of Child Protective Services will finally be achieved. Stay tuned for your next transmission.
All right, everybody. This is civil rights lawyers, Mr. Laird on one side of this. This is Big D on the other side. You are viewing the second half of our live stream here. We are talking about all kinds of things. Begin, started, stops, their case, his case, anybody's case. Pretty much just a free for all of everything. This is our new show. This is what we're trying to get put together. We got a couple of things in the works here. We do have a store on Shopify. I'll put the link up here so that you can check out there. The profits from that store are going to go to every month. They'll go to a group or a family. We haven't figured this out yet. This is all new. But we're going to do something with the profits that goes towards benefiting someone that is in need for some support in the child protection realm. Mr. Laird's got Laird's Legal Resources. Check out his page on Facebook. It's a good spot to go and get involved, because a lot of this stuff is way over people's heads. I mean, you never even imagined. You thought that it was just as simple as getting involved with your, and your children, and then coming to take them, and that's just not it. That's just the surface. So, pay attention to this next round. If you're just joining us, you just missed a good hour of just blabbering good information, really, about CPS and how they operate, from tinfoil hat style to what's really happened, back to the reality of everything, and to God, to our country, and let's see what this next move brings. So thank you all for joining us, and here we are.
Thanks, Derek.
Mr. Laird. So when we just took that break, I can't wait. I've been waiting. I'm like, holy shit! I want to hear about this iceberg stuff. I want to hear about this. I don't. If you don't mind, I'd like to hear about it. A little
The government may not want you to know, but I'm not paid by them, and that's actually a key that I tell most of my clients. An officer shows up at your door, social worker shows up at your door. Repeat after me. I do not work for you. Why is that significant? Because in this situation, it's only by businesses policy procedure. The authority of a policy and procedure of business administration only has the authority of an employer to an employee during a time of work. Oh, you kind of see how that breaks the hands? Because I don't work for the state.
You just amaze me. swear, like, listen to you speak and everything. Sometimes I'm in my own little zone so much, and I'm like, where does everything it's just crazy how you can tie everything together. Whether it comes from the boat, like the talking about how everything. Like, explain that to someone, if you will. Like, tell me about, like, remember you explained to me the board, like the boards or the board
Right.
that hold the boat together. If you could maybe get in on that first a little bit, that would be pretty cool.
You want me to explain that a little bit so people can kind of understand where to get the
Yeah,
attachment?
and more so for myself, because I try to explain to someone, I sound like an idiot. I'm like, there's a board and a this and a that, so I don't quite have it myself either. But
Well, let's be honest. You haven't been to 12 years of law school,
no, sir,
and that's a
no.
lot of education. Can you imagine 12 years of law school in a university? What kind of bills you have? No, they're mad at me because I didn't go to school to get that higher education. I fell down because I was set up by an informant of an officer for 100 crimes that he committed, not me. My attorneys refused to go get my work employment record to prove I didn't do it. So this is what it tells you. Your cops are protecting their informants, setting your families up. And that's just huge. Okay, in law school, let me teach you the first lessons of law. The very first lesson, law does not exist in the United States of America.
This isn't like a fight club, right? Like the first rule of Fight Club is there's no fight club. Like laws, what do you mean there's no laws in the United States? Come on, we got a courtroom, we got all this stuff. What do you mean there's no laws?
That's an illusion. Okay, let me say it to you like this. In that courtroom, they're using statutes of business policy of the incorporation of the state of Missouri, or whatever state you're in. So technically, where's the law? That's a statute. If it was law, it would say law. Now, here's the thing. God's law is the only law in the world. The one law is the universal law of God. No matter your religion, it's the same God. Just different modes and understandings by different people. That's what you call religion. But in the government,
And God's law is common law, correct?
Now, the framers, the Constitution is like the ribbing of a ship, a friendship, a business ship, any kind of ship. Because a ship is the idea of a covenant, a partnership, friendship, bonds, parental bonds, anything. They want to tear this ship apart. It's what they want. Now, the Constitution is the bare bones of the ribbing of a ship. The boards, like the professional registration boards in the state, constitute the sides, the planking, the wood of the ship, called Constitution, which everybody here is upon. Now, the ship is what actually brings you above the water and out of that maritime trade laws and admiralty, which is not admiral at all. It's piracy and thievery. It's what your cops commit every damn day because they work under commercial law. Now, that's Navy, point blank. But the boards, well, as ships get old, the boards begin to rot, and sometimes you have to replace boards. So our complaints here have been going on deaf ears to investigators and the boards and everything else, who's clearly not doing their paid job. They're claiming the money to get paid. There are defense contractor identification numbers just like me and you're about to use with Gladys Odell to unite these families in one defensive civil action. You think you can handle that, Darren?
Yep, well, I'm gonna have to, man, because the world depends on it, my friend.
Well, that's the thing about a woman. They are very good at getting around and speaking to people and getting things done.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. A man and a woman is the best team you'll ever meet. That's better than two dudes or two women. They're so banging with heads with each other, they can't figure out which one's doing what. But at the same point, when you're a fuckstick like that, you gave up your right to a child. You got to remember that. You chose to be gay. You gave up your right to a child.
Right. There's nothing wrong with being gay. But don't try to infiltrate. Don't try to infiltrate on being what God has created. That's my issue there.
Oh, I'm the same way. I've got gay friends out there. We keep one rule. You respect mine, I respect yours. And that's just the way it
Right.
is.
You're never going to, I'm sorry to anybody that's listening and they feel differently, but you're never going to get me to call a he, she, a she, me, or any of that. I've got a penis. She's got a vagina. I'm a man. She's a woman. My penis goes to her vagina. We make a baby. So there's not anything other than what you're going to call us.
And let's just be real about this. Your church, your messengers of God, which is supposed to be the voice of God to the people, when they were asked where they stood on this whole situation of these kids and gay rights and da 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 da, they were quiet, which made it seem like God wasn't home. So the devil pushed in on you. Let's just be real about this. In the earliest times of the Bible, this is called Sodom and Gomorrah. This is what happens. When the gay rights overturn everything else and go retarded, I'm sorry, you can be gay. That's up to you. But like the Bible shows you, God will not just burn the world. He burned towns. He turned people to salt. That's Sodom and Gomorrah. That's the very first original towns. They got to be lovers of men. They got to be lovers of boys, girls. They were sleeping with each other. They had no morals, no loyals, and no values, and no honor. And let's just say God is vengeful. You ever think he's not? You're a fool.
Oh, man, let me tell you something. I live a part of like the book of Job. Like I live like you. My life is, what? I'm happy as I can be with the happiness I am, and I'm not happy at all. But you know what? There's a bigger play that I play a part. I can't sit around and be like, why, woe is me,
Right.
blah, blah, poor me, God, what the hell are you doing? No, you know what? God has a huge responsibility. And I might not understand what my role is, but that's not for me to understand. And I'm playing what role God needs me to play right now to work out in His system. And you accept that if you are, you are one of God's children, and you just accept the fact that this is the role you play. You might never find out why you're playing the role, and you might never get any, graceful whatever. But you've done what you were supposed to do for the part that He gave you.
Hey, Darren, in the end, he'll show it all to you. What you were meant to do, what you didn't do, everything. He'll show it all to you.
Yes, sir.
Which is pretty awesome. Because that's why they're so mad at me, is because they keep trying to catch me. But if I've already seen this, wouldn't it be understandable that I could duck and dodge? Pretty simply.
Well, I mean, if you've seen and you've lived what you've lived, I would think that you would learn what you've learned, and you would have finally made it out to be what you needed to be to make sure that things go the way that they're supposed to.
Well, let's just be honest with you. Until you fulfill your role, you will not pass this test of life. Until you get better, you will not pass this test of life. And the only way you're going to get better, sometimes you got to put your heart on your sleeve. Stand on what you believe. And that's just the real story.
And that goes to where I'm going to take off of this here. That's this movement, right? This movement is in dire need of someone that, look, I don't know if everybody's running scared. I don't know if everybody's worried to that. But I've been into this for 2 years now, okay? And I deal with people that have been in this for 15 years. I've been with people that have been in this for 2 months. No one's moving. We're all talking. Everybody's talking, 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 talking. And while we're talking, more kids are being taken. While we're talking, more actions, more laws are being put into place to prevent us from doing things that we for more times going past PPRs, more appeals are going through. Like, people, we are out of time. It's time to stop. There's plenty of us. There is more than enough. So let's do this math, right? So there's a child a minute taken out of care, the household throughout the States. A child a minute. I got on one of my podcasts. That's my dog. That's our daughter. I forget what it ended up being, but it's a huge amount of whatever it is. Anyway, you take that, you multiply that. Let's just say a minimal amount of 4 people affected out of that. So we need to get that number. 2020. Let me look here real quick.
Mother, father, sisters, brothers, aunts.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Hold on. Hey Alexa, how many children were taken into custody by CPS in the year 2021?
From
Wow.
mothership.sg. The data, which was last updated on April 11, 2022, showed that a total of 2,141 child abuse cases were investigated by MSF's Child Protective Service.
Thank you for
That don't sound right.
Okay, here we go.
Let's
CPS
try.
intervention separates over 30,000 children from their parents each year. And
Well,
I
on
think
the
that, okay, in the United States, 400,000 children are in the state custody through Child Protective Services, most commonly for parental neglect. Okay, so you got 400,000 times 4 is what? 10, is that 1.6 or 10.6 million?
I don't know, but did you hear what she said?
Mothership?
No. Now, this is one of the claims that I produced to the U.S. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to turn the presidential and everything else. The claim was negligence, no crime at all.
Right. That's what they're getting everybody in.
Yep.
And what
in other
pisses
words,
me off, Larry,
it's a business
is
term.
they substantiated me to the highest degree of neglect and abuse that I can be found. That means that they made me out to be like I was a pedophile, man. They put
That's
me in
correct.
to that bracket, and that's fucking bullshit because there was never anything done near, to, around, in the vicinity, anything of my daughter. It had nothing to do with my daughter.
Well, of course it didn't, Darren. And this is really easy to understand when I explain this to you, okay? You've got a man and a woman. One cheats on the other. Who's accused of cheating?
The other.
The one who didn't cheat. Because
Right.
I don't think about cheating on nobody because I just wouldn't do it. I'm
Right,
always
that's me
accused
too.
of cheating by a cheater. That's the
Mhm.
point. It's not in our head, it's in their head. They are the criminal. They are the one raping kids and doing bad things to their families. That's what this is all about.
Right.
The
There's
speck
nobody
in my
overseeing
eye,
these.
the splinter in my eye versus the log in theirs.
Yeah. That's a good one. I never
Because,
heard that before.
well, it's one of the things God says. Don't over. Here's the other thing He says, and this is what falls to your judges. Judge upon a person, and you shall be judged.
Right. You don't ever judge someone else.
That's
You've
what I'm
never
telling you
walked a
about.
mile in their shoes.
These courts do not have a jurisdiction over either party or of the children. Social services don't even have a legal right to your child. It's the mother and father.
But because we allow them to do these things until someone stands up
Well,
and they says, no, you're not going to take my kid.
well,
Any of these
let me tell you
things.
what happened. I'm going to be real with you when I prove this case. I approved your medical doctor, your professionals, licensed individuals, and your social worker and to commit murder after the trespass of information, which is illegal by third party, and that's hearsay, onto the physical property for trespass to commit an actual crime of kidnapping domestic terrorism. Now, here's the thing. The state of Pennsylvania is the point you're going to want to be looking for financial documents of credit going to the dismemberment of children by social services. Murder. Now, here's the problem. Most of the parents, half of them are dead because their fathers committed suicide. So
Yeah.
they're claiming they're staying afloat because there's nowhere to put these kids. Homie, we're going to build towns by the artists if that's what it takes. We're going to find a home.
Yeah,
We're willing to do whatever it takes here. They're not
do
going to
what
stay
we
in
need to
home.
do for what we got to do for this, because this isn't just saving our children. This is saving the fucking world, man, for real.
You're correct. And the biggest thing about a doctor here, if a doctor is in the commission of a crime or in intentional harm that can be proven, then you take away their license by the professional registration boards of state. A doctor who commits murder can be just taking his license away. And while you're also doing that, you take away their EIN employment number from the IRS. You got to conjoin all these parts and pieces like the performance bond to the DUNS number for me to destroy the EIN number of the corporate entity of state, the corporate entity of the United States, and stop your foreign contractors from coming over here and taking your damn presidency. You haven't had a natural president since 1962 when the U.S. surrendered to the United Nations. They removed God and the flag from your schoolrooms. Following suit of that was
Yes, sir. Oh, hold on a minute here.
child sharing. But when you take away God, you took away the protection. So everybody needs to say God's name real loud.
You got that right. God, you are my name. You are the only master.
Pretty much, because he's who gave you that child. There ain't no man in this world can take that child from a parent. They didn't create that child. Point blank, mom and dad did by the righteous path. Now the other part of the situation of the child is, it is proof that you are God's followers. That is in the book in the Bible, which was in 1986 by an act of Congress made the word of God. And able to be used in that courtroom. We go in the courtroom and defeat them with a Bible. That's what they get mad about. You got a judge sitting in black, looking like the word of God, he says, and pronouncing judgment. Well, I'm sorry, sir. I'm bringing a Bible. I'll whoop your ass and knock you off that seat, and I'll take your ropes. Because let's just be real. We do not add a judge. We do not add a minister. That's how they run cities to steal money. We have a minister. We have a pastor. We have a priest. And we have the house of God over here, which is where the community meets. And like I've been telling these judges, I know you don't work on Sunday, but my church meets on Sunday. You try to drag me across the commercial, from the residential private into the commercial section where you kidnap my kids across that boundary line, which is also found in the planning and zoning of the city. They've got a map of that, which is the jurisdiction of the cops, social worker, all of them. They can't come to your house unless you call them. Otherwise, they're criminally trespassing to commit crime. But the issue being, they're trying to drag you into commercial courtrooms from the private side. And I'm sorry, if you want to take out the elected official, just tell them, send them a note. Meet me at the church on Sunday. And then on the church Sunday, ask that pastor, may I have a moment to speak to the community, the congregation? Now, here's the thing. Blow it out right there. These are the people, these grandparents, the older people in this court, those are also your business owners. Now, you're never going to see that judge come up for election again, I promise you. And you bring up the fact that he tried to drag you across a fence that's well established, a zone and planning. You're in a private residential section. Your cops, your social workers have no authority over here. In fact, they only have authority in business over in the commercial section. It cannot be called to your home except by you. Because here's a service that must be offered. It cannot be forced. A kid cannot be taken without authorization, even when it's being handled as culling of the herd, as if cattle. These are not your
So
cattle.
there's a question. This is where I would like to. This is where I want to get into then. So back to this. What is so when they get a preliminary protection order or whatever they call it in any other states? I don't know what they call it. My state they call it a preliminary protection order. This means that they had to go in front of a judge. They had to present the judge a sworn statement that says that the kid was in so much danger that it wouldn't be able to wait for an actual hearing to where the notification or the due process would be followed. So imminent danger was to be used. Now, is that or is that not considered a search warrant? Is due process followed in that? Is jurisdiction followed with them doing that? How is that? How is that based and how does that work?
Okay, let me make it really simple. A court only belongs to the living persons, the individuals in the residential section under God, right? Now, you're an employee of a business while you're in the commercial sections and industrial sections. That courtroom does not belong to you, neither as an employer or an employee. And it also gives you no right to the child. It's kind of like your officers. They claim to be the state. Okay, assholes, you're not the state. You're a city code enforcer, like a dog catcher or a security guard at Walmart is who you fucking are.
Not that there's anything wrong with working at Walmart or being a security guard.
No, don't get me wrong. But that security guard will never try to grab your child, will it?
No, sir. You give him a sticker.
Yeah, you better give him a sticker because let's just be real with you. Under equal application of business, and equal protection of business, the state cannot prejudice towards favoritism of any business, say social services, which is in fact a government contractor that's in violation of the state constitution as well as the U.S. Constitution, and that's the truth of it. Here's the thing: that planning and zoning city map is what you require. It's the civil engineers planning and zoning. They're industrial, administrative, and commercial. They cannot come over here into your residential because the businesses pay them officers to protect their businesses. Well, what they don't tell you is when you go to work and you get off work, you get your paycheck. Remember them officers that work for the business? They're trying to steal your paycheck from you to give it back to the business and to pay themselves. Let's just be real about it. That is
They
the
do
truth.
that by fining you, right? Is that what you're saying? They do it by fining
Yep,
you.
they
And
fine you to death. Your public
so when they,
service.
let's talk about this for a minute. So, and it's funny that you say this because just the other day, back up here where I am, or not the other day, back in July, there's some issues between the two police departments right here in South, where the chief of South Berwick, he has said that like he doesn't trust the Berwick police and so on and so forth. He lives in this town of Berwick, next to South Berwick, where he's the chief. All right, so it's kind of an opposite thing. So last year, Berwick police, have been noticed to be harassing him. They go down his road as posted clearly that it's no trespassing. It's a private road. It's all of these things. Well, in the video, they show a Berwick police officer driving down the road, which then the police chief called up the dispatch and said that he wanted the officers to return because he wanted an explanation to why they were down there. So, that all being said, I don't even recall what. So, so anyway, this goes to what we're saying. The officers have no authorization to be there because, like Joyce said, the chief, he said, "Why are you down here on my private road? You're trespassing. No one called you. If they didn't call you, they shouldn't be there. Like they can't just come to your house, right? And just how does that work? Because they only have jurisdiction like the town hall and then like the police department or something. There's like two places in a town.
Well, technically, the way it really works, the officer is not supposed to be driving that damn car of yours, which is paid for with the people's money from that town, of their tax money. That cop is not a paid driver of any service. So technically, he should be walking to the reports. The firearm, you people bought as well. He should not be carrying a firearm for any damn reason. He's a liability. And the Security Exchange Commission, of all officers, requires a damage bond because they know they're going to screw up. That's where that damage.
It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Well, the thing is this: that's their insurance policy and bond to contract with this government contractor, and that's where I keep hitting them. Because when I apply damage to that bond, let's just say the officer that killed that one guy, wouldn't be an issue because I just took the entire director of that police force and I just got them all fired because they're no longer.
Hey Laird.
Yeah,
Laird, I got my we got a guest here, my friend Candace. She's a small voice. We've changed it, so I don't want to say what she's name is now. She's a small something with a huge voice. Small individual with a huge voice. She was just here a second ago. She chipped out. I've been trying to get her on for a long time. She's rocking. Do you know Candace? No. Hopefully she comes back in. She was just in, and she bounced out. So hopefully she comes back because she's a great one to get in on these conversations with us. But so the police, this is the problem. The police, in their presence, when they show up at your house, they're nothing more than being a muscle, right? Like that's pretty much all they're being. They have no legal authority when they come to your house and they are representing CPS, right?
They shouldn't be representing CPS at all. They are literally working as a muscle, like you just said. Now, here's the thing. Because what happened was all these different corporations and all the way to city just tagged each other in the commission of a crime acting together. Now, your officer was required to know this information. Without a signed complaint by an individual, not an officer, not a judge, not a social worker, or somebody at work, but a physical person off work, signed complaint. Whoever initiated the call is where he needed to be, not at your
Can y'all
house.
hear me?
Oh yeah. This is my friend Candace. Candace, we're live right now, so we can hear you. We can see you.
Hello.
Larry,
Hello.
Candace, you're in here.
But what I was getting at is,
I don't know if she
without a
knows that
signed
microphone
complaint,
is
the
through
officer knows
there.
not to be at any door, except the person
Candace,
who
can
called.
you hear us?
I can hear you, but I don't know
And we
that.
can hear you.
I like her accent.
You're in. Yeah, she's right next door to you, my friend.
Oh yeah, nice.
Candace is in Alabama. She has quite an interesting story too. Candace Laird, she was in the cell. She paid her duty for more than a time. She got arrested for frivolous charge. It was they believe it was a $30 check or something, right, Candace?
Wow.
It's actually
So they arrested
$75.
Yeah, and then she was held with a bond that was. I'll let you got to hear this, Laird. Go ahead, Candace, tell Laird.
Not sure what just
Going
happened.
away. I don't know. I guess we lost her there again. We'll get her back. So wait, you got to hear her story, man. Her story's fucking insane, dude. It's another one of these like, wow, it just blows you away. Like, I cannot believe that these people get away with this. I mean, first of all, she served her country, man. Like, she deserves that. That in itself should say, back the fuck off, give this girl her kids.
Well,
And if you think that she has a problem, or she has some sort of an issue
sort
that
of
she
an
shouldn't have her
issue that
kids,
she
then you should be
then you
fucking
should be
supporting
fucking
that girl
supporting that
and giving her what she
giving her
needs
what
to
she
be
needs to
fucking
be
having her
fucking
child,
having her
because she
child,
deserves that for
deserves
serving our
that for
country.
serving our country.
well, that's what these people should have done when social services showed up at other people's doors. They should have stood together. Because one of the biggest qualities about due process is you to have witnesses and to be able to witness to anything or any action against you, and you to have witnesses for testimonies. These cops are going for containment and isolation, which is in violation to the United States Constitution. Segregation, undue quality of penalty, in fact. Now, isn't that a
So
little
let's talk due process. Let's talk about due process a little bit.
Ooh, that's a big issue because you're being
Right.
robbed.
So let's talk about the fairness doctrine, right? Is that what they base it on? There's 5 things that you need to.
Actually, I think what it is, in fact, is the IRS Fair and Equal Credit Reporting section, actually, of debt to society. Remember? If I want to clear your criminal record, I do it under the Fair Credit and Relief Acts of the IRS.
Right. So they did also Congress put into play, right? The five. Hold on.
The biggest thing with the IRS is the Treasury is your money, and we the people are the boss of that money. Those people put in place weren't put there by us.
And people need to remember that, man. But here's what defense. What do you give to people to give them hope and promise when we will talk about the whole voting system, how it's a sham and our votes really don't count? So what do you tell people to get them engaged and involved and make it think that it matters for them?
I don't even try to give them the hope it's going to change, because honestly, it doesn't count except for your very local individuals. Maybe your county. I doubt if it works for the governor even. Otherwise, he wouldn't be making this action against the people.
So do you think that I guess as you said you don't. So do you just go on and say, listen, make your actions louder than the words? Is that what's up? All right, here's Candace again.
Let me explain it to
Candace
you.
coming back. Candace is coming back. Candace, we got you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, Candace.
I can't hear her. Can you? Can we poke her and get her to squeak or something?
Candace, make a noise.
Wave, say you can hear us.
Candace, can you hear us?
It's kind of like Floyd.
I'm trying to see her in her glasses, see if she's looking at us or not, you know?
Right. Well, I figure it's like Floyd when he was calling home to the old lady. This is the United States. Are we reaching? I meant to keep saying
We lost her again. Anyway, so back to the famous. She'll be here. She'll get it. And boy, when she does, hold on, man. She's going to grab this thing by the reins, man. This girl can talk, and she's pissed off, full of vinegar, and she's awesome. So I really do hope she
Well,
comes
then I
back.
could probably give her another girl to join up with down in Alabama.
Oh, she would love that, man. Candace and I, it's funny because Candace and I got involved with this movement about at the same time a couple years ago. And it was funny because once we were both doing the same things, we were, you know, like we were both hitting up every group that we could. We both had just gotten our kids taken, you know, like all this. And every place that I went to, she was, and every place she went to, I was, and then we were both going back and forth. So it was pretty cool because we had someone that could stick by, because this is a tough thing, man, being involved with a CPS agency. No one wants you around as far as no one wants you to be in, you know, the stigma that gets attached is disgusting. You know, they force you to alienate yourself or to isolate.
I was trying to tell you that remedy from it.
The fact that you didn't do this, you're a piece of shit. You did something atrocious to your children.
Well, let me give you the remedy real fast before we get too far out of hand. To relieve yourself from social services, state charges, federal charges, it don't matter what. You claim the immunity clause of
The
business.
immunity clause?
Yes, sir, because the immunity clause states a single proprietor, a partnership, even an S corp are immune from investigation and penalties from an incorporation or corporation due to the unfairness of prejudice of the courts, for one, because the court is an incorporation, of resources, finances, and employees against an individual who does not have such resources. That's the Unfair Quality Act of this situation. In child kidnapping, and actually made it the domestic terrorist kidnapping charge by the businesses. Now, as national security in the country, you informed me, you are going to have the ability upon the individual officer, social worker, or anybody else to file the criminal 18 USC code.
Yep, hear me.
And upon the director, chief, or whoever, governor, you are having to file the business complaint penalty action. And that's how it's going to have to work.
Hey, Candace, we got you.
So apparently both me and you are echoing.
That happens.
And I just, I was horrible. I straight had a phone.
Oh, yeah, there she goes. That's the same thing that we were dealing with, right?
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to put this on a pause. I'm not putting you guys on a pause. I'm going to put the show on a pause here. Hold on a second.
Sounds great.
So that they lose us. I'm going to put that video on. We try to figure this out.
It also gives them a chance to digest.
I intend to embarrass this government entity to the very core.
Something needs to be done because it's not right that they can just go ahead and remove your kid. And I mean, our daughter hasn't even been away from us for more than a day or two, or an hour or two, let alone 2 weeks now. And this just isn't right. And the facts prove it.
I will make sure that my daughter has nothing but the best for the remainder of her life. This kid had the world by every aspect that you possibly could. She was given every chance to become whatever she wanted. We talked daily about her becoming an astronaut or a pilot or, you know, something that was just an amazing feat for her. And she knew the sky wasn't just her limit, man. Space was. my word is, the only thing she needs to be the best for the rest of her life is her mother and I. So let's do the right thing.
Gives them the right, some guardian lion that she's spoken with her maybe once, twice, 3 times that she's
A vendetta, an homage, I don't know what you want to call it, but she's got something under her that's driving her to remove this kid from our lives. Well, she's inexperienced. Inexperienced is what you're going to toss this to? You're going to give an inexperienced person the keys to my world, my heart, our everything? Inexperienced is people that burn a pizza. Inexperience is bumping your car into something else, because you're an inexperienced driver. Introduced as a third wheel into a kinship family, which I'm thankful for, but that's not her own. She's not with her own mom and dad. She's not even allowed to have her own things. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to have gifts from us. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to even take home simple food things from us when she visits us. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal not having Nina here in my life right now. I would rather sit behind a jail cell door and wait until that moment that I can be with my family again, and that would at least be something. But to sit here and know that she's the one that's suffering, this punishment isn't in my behalf, this is on hers. Now, I made a mistake. What CPS has done and are doing to our family is tearing us apart. In the framework of the investigation, it states clearly, do not recommend further investigation of this family. So why was it taken to that level? And why was it that my daughter was in such imminent danger that it took 8 days for the department to come and pick up my child after being ruled imminent danger? Tell me this. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, I don't want you in my life. DHS is full of that. I don't want them in my life. Help me get them out of my life. Because these people are people that I don't want to be around. I don't want them to have my daughter, Nina, out of our home and put her in a place that they screened. Do you know how long they screened? They screened her. They screened the family for no more than 2 hours prior. It took me 32 minutes to pull up the history of this family and find out that they operated under voyeur cameras, had porn websites, had all kinds of things going on there, that their kids that they had living there had witnessed their father get murdered by their mother, their faces stabbed off, they burnt the house down that they were living in, and this is where they put my 3-year-old daughter that was in imminent danger. Think about the things that Nina has seen now that we shadowed her from and sheltered her so that she never had to go through these things. Tell me now who needs to get the stanchion. Tell me now who's committing the acts of neglect and abuse. Tell me now. Tell me now who's going to look at Nina in the face. Tell her that she can trust her dad and her mom, and it was their mistake.
I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nina fell on the floor. Where you fall? You fall on the ground. What are you doing on the ground? Don't pick. Just don't be alone. What do we got to do to that, buddy? Huh? Neeners. Beaners. Hey, Nina. Hey, look it. What we got to do? What we got to do to you, boo-boo? How are we gonna fix it? You gonna put the band-aid on? Okay. What else do we need to have? Some chocolate? Should we call mommy and get a slushie? You don't think that will help? You want me to call mama, get a slushie? What color? Alright, we got...
Good evening, my family out there. I hope these messages find you well. For I come with you for the first transmission of hope. We are the United Coalition of Family Fighters. For the last time, CPS has taken our children for profit and destroyed our family heritage and our hearts. Let this be known from this point forward. CPS, you have a battle on your hands that you've never seen before. We are going to attack you from the courtroom, from the computer desk, to the streets where you come and take our children from. Everywhere you turn, from this point forward, you will see one of us. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For those of you who've lost your kids, we are coming. Be hopeful. Be kind to one another. Stand as a legion. We will need you, for this fight will not be easy. And we can all not win it alone. We need to unite, strong, solid, for all to be a part. And when we do so, the destruction of Child Protective Services will finally be achieved. Stay tuned for your next transmission.
Jesus, Larry, this fucking moving some fingers. Who's that Candace? Windows Connection Manager? Windows Event Log. Uh-oh. I don't got nothing that...
Shell hardware is remote access.
Shell hardware?
Shell, S-H-E-L-L. Remote shells.
Shell hardware detection. Okay, recover, log on. Recovery. Dependencies. Remote procedure call. Because Candace, this happened on both of these computers here. Because now I've switched from this